Welcome to Drum Addicts on Andertons TV. I'm with Jeff again, and we're going to talk you through a Remo head, but not just any Remo head. How a head is like it is. So we're going to talk about the collar, the coating, what it's made of, how it's made. So basically, these are really, really cool tools to drummers, and you don't realise how much of a difference it can make to your playing, your sound, how it affects you emotionally, and how each one can be different. So this particular head, which is an Ambassador, it's obviously got the aluminium collar that's welded together, and you've got the mylar in it and the glue. These are all handmade, every step of the manufacturing process. You sort of think it's a big robot. It's not, it's lots of human beings, isn't it? So even to the stamp and the putting it in the box is all done by a human. So
there's a few ideas on the back of the box that you when you buy the Remo head in. So we've got Diplomat, Ambassador, Emperor. Those are your kind of three low weight, medium weight and high weight kind of options for adding dampening into your head. Then we've got a couple of a few ideas here. Cold controlled sound has a dot in the middle. Power stroke, well that's either an Ambassador or an Emperor, but with a little gasket that runs round. I'll show you those in a second. And the famous pinstripe, which is actually an Emperor, but with a dampening agent around the edge of the head.
So rather than just seeing a picture on a cardboard box,
yeah, I've got some cutouts here.
So we'll take you through them and show you. So basically, standard Ambassador.
So there's your standard Ambassador. So you've got all Remo heads come with a little bit of tension in them, and you'll see here that you've got an aluminium collar, and there's some resin in there, which the film is gripped by, because the film actually has holes around the edge which grip into the head. And it rises up, and that edge there is designed to pick up lots of different bearing edges. Well, it's widths of shells, so don't worry about whether it's your shell is the right width. It'll pick somewhere up on that corner, which is great. So that's a standard Ambassador. Got things called power strokes. I've got some cutouts here. I'll just take you through them. This one here is a Power Stroke 3, which is an Ambassador but with a gasket. So that dampens down the head. Saves you putting moon gel on the top sometimes. Sometimes it'll just be enough. Sometimes you might need to add some more. But that's a Power Stroke 3. This is a Power Stroke 4. The Power Stroke 4 is the Emperor. And you'll see that ply there. Quite a low pitch with a gasket. Got an Ebony Emperor here. So again, twin ply. That's a 7.5 and a 7. Very fat and wet. Here we have the fibre skin, little cutout there, and you'll see I've pulled away the laminate here. Oh, I shouldn't have done, but there we are. So I pulled away the laminate, so you'll see that it's a laminate on top. Very good for brushes, kind of funky low sounds. Fantastic on the front of bass drums. Really nice front bass drum head.
And batter.
And batter,
they sound really warm, and that sort of woolly vintage sound is easy to get out of those.
Yeah. I've actually got, while we're on that, I'll just show you quickly. Crash, bang, wallop. I've got fibre skin felt tone there. The felt tone is a strip of felt that's free floating across the top there. And that's a lovely, nice, warm sound. So Big Bertha, that is my bass drum.
It's also quite cool, if you've tuned drums the old school way, you'd get a felt strip and sort of have to have 3 sets of hands and sort of embed it in the hoop and then clamp it down. This doesn't need that, so this is sort of sneakily put in there for you already. So cool new head.
Here's a pinstripe, and here you can actually see on some of these, or these are a bit clearer than others. That's the nice easy one. You'll see that each Remo head comes with what's called a step. Now this is actually a design that's built into the head design, and is responsible for that cracking noise that you hear. It's not the glue breaking, it's actually the step releasing. The step is it comes out of the film, goes across the inner lip of the aluminium channel, and then up. So it's like and you'll hear the cracking noise, which is just that step releasing. Now the step is there to offer an even playing surface right from straight off the bat. Saves it the kind of film just being wobbly inside the channel. And here you'll see it rise up. So this side is the same as that side, so it's an even fit all the way around. So when it goes on the drum, it's level from the beginning. So that's what that's called.
And that cracking sound is good news, not bad news.
There you are. You can just about hear it. So some people do actually break that crack. It's not the glue breaking, it's just the step releasing, and that kind of pre-ages it slightly. Some people press into the head and they force that cracking noise. All of those are pre-aging techniques. Some people just let the counter hoop do it. After all, the counter hoop is round and is pressing down evenly and isn't quite so random as pressing. So there's a few techniques for breaking a head in.
I tend to just
play it, yeah.
I think some people do sort of overcomplicate the issue, and I think a lot of people are intimidated by tuning, where a lot of it's trial and error. So
here's a pinstripe. So pinstripe is an Emperor, but with a dampening agent around the edge. We've got a Renaissance head here, which is actually a UV cured head. That's been around since the 90s. That's an older logo, but the Renaissance gives a very soft feel. What else we got?
They're great if you're going to use mallets, aren't they? They
Mallets,
give that sort of softness.
Resonant heads, they're great as resos as well. I've had them top and bottom on toms, for a Latin gig. That sounded great. Here's the makeup of the vintage A. That's really quite interesting. So you'll see a 7.5 mil top, mil being thousandths of an inch, and a snare head, an ambassador snare head. When that relaxes, those two start to move about and give a very warm, low tone. That head's been around since 1950 blur, and it's still one of the really interesting go-to heads.
We still stock it, and one of my kits at home, which sadly doesn't get gigged too hard, lives with these on it. So just super easy top and bottom. I want that old sound, so I get something that says vintage in it. So the clue is in the name.
We've got some snare heads here. So the snare head don't really have a step in there, but they can pull really quite tight and give you that tight, snappy sound for snares. They come in 3 weights. So you've got Diplomat, Ambassador, and Emperor. You can hear the pitch of them. It's very high pitched, and that gives you all the kind of crispy attack that you need from your snare wires. So snare wires.
That's also the most different head, isn't it?
Yeah.
People will try and put too thick a head on the bottom of their snares when really you want a super thin head so the wires can vibrate. So
there are some options, believe it or not, for really colouring the bottom head, and that's a black suede snare head, which is incredibly dark and dry. So yes, there are some ridiculously dry, dark options for the snare wires.
Well, a lot of people leave their bottom head and don't. Oh, it's still got the original one it came with. So we get that a lot. So it's just as much as you can experiment with your top head, you can do the bottom. And obviously, you don't have to do them at the same time. It can work out expensive, but really look at your bottom head because it's part of the tone, part of the sound. So
I've seen it where somebody's broken a bottom head, left that collar on and put a new one over the top and wondered why it didn't sound quite so good.
Yeah, and lots of people don't check. I mean, if you grab so this is how thin it is once it's on the drum, but when you put some wires over it, people don't realise that sometimes little corners of the wires actually pierce and perforate this, and they're going, oh, my snare just sounds horrible, and they've not even flipped it over and looked at it. This is purposely thinner than the rest of the drum, so this is the one that can get changed.
So a few of the types of head, apart from Diplomat, Ambassador, Emperor, we've got a skin tone here, which is like a fibre skin, but with the fibres kind of within the plastic. That's a really soft, buttery head. Here's the controlled sound, just with a little dot cut off in the corner. Controlled sound is just an Ambassador with a dot. You can get Emperor versions.
Also massively back in fashion now that Steve Smith's back on the road. So
He's actually just grab that head there. And just to finish off, there's an Emperor here called a white suede Emperor. That's actually 2 films back to back, so they slip and slide away. And here's Steve. Here's the man. Yeah.
That also shows just how many artists play Remo. It's easier to list people that don't, but that's Steve Smith with hair, so I'm sure he'll love me saying that, but I don't know him personally. But Journey back out and using the old school head with the dot on. So
there we are. So those are the different kinds of heads you can get. There are plenty of others, but really all of them based around the Diplomat, Ambassador and Emperor. So all roads lead to Rome.
And can completely change the sound of your drums.
Yeah.
So yeah, experiment. That's the key. There's lots of variables, and we can't talk about every variable, and we can't change how you play, where you play.
Yeah.
All the variables are there, but what we can do is just try and give you some inspiration of what's available. We keep most of these in stock, so the 14 variations we have on our shelf on there is pretty wide. So there's lots to try. Everyone's tastes are different. Everyone's hands are different. That's the main thing.
All the music is different.
Yeah,
You've got different outcomes. So
yeah, experiment. There's lots of heads out there. So this is Drum Addicts on Andertons TV. Subscribe, check out all the other videos we've done, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the Andertons drum channel. Hope you enjoyed it. But if you're a guitar player or a bass player, you play keyboards or you're into music technology, we've got other YouTube channels that you might be interested in, and I'll put links to those in the description below. Anyway, if you want to find out more about the products we showed in this video, please click up here. If you'd like to watch another video from the drum channel, please click over here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this one or in lots of other colors, click down here. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe to the Andertons drum channel, please click down here. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.